Hi again, and welcome to Spirit Wise by Rai-na. I walk with the Spirit Five, my guides, and there are others that will come in as needs be to help me out of a situation as long as I ask. What are we going to talk about today? I was thinking about this for a couple of days and I decided I'd like to discuss reincarnation. It is part of cultures that may not be necessarily North American traditional. There's reincarnation is very big in India and other Eastern cultures. It's as natural to them as breathing. It's as natural as knowing this life is the same. When soul departs, you get that chance to come back again, perhaps to work on other life lessons. That was new to me. I hadn't really considered anything like this when I was younger, but I did read about trees, and we know how much worth and value trees are. They're sacred. And if trees come in the spring and put out their buds and their blossoms and their leaves and give fruit, and in the autumn the leaves dry up and fall off, and in the winter the tree goes to sleep. But in the spring it's renewed again, it comes back to life. And that's a tree. How much more value then is our own soul, is our own human existence? Why would it seem odd then that we ourselves have opportunity to live again, to come back to life? That was new for me. My mentor, Sandra, often talked about our soul. She says, compare it to a diamond. Imagine a diamond. And every time we come to the earth plane, we polish a facet of that diamond on our soul. That's a really cool idea. So I thought, well, okay, how many times have I come back? And my understanding is we can reincarnate like 300 times. Years apart. There are some cases, I think, where people come back quickly. They would be someone who just didn't accept their passing and understood that they had to get back. But that veil of forgetfulness that we have, otherwise it really muddies the waters when we reincarnate again. That veil of forgetfulness helps us let go of that former life, that former facet of the diamond. I think I've been around quite a bit. I have done past life regressions, which is kind of cool. It's like watching a movie of your life unfolding. You look down at your feet and like, whoa, those are sandals? Wait a minute, those are rope sandals. And then you look, well, maybe they're wood. They're clogs. And it's so cool to look at yourself first and then travel up and see what you're wearing, and then you look around and see where you are. Boy, those past life regressions were really eye-openers for me. But I do understand that I've been here before. There have been times where, like I was like 19, 20, I'd be spouting stuff and I had no idea why I was saying this stuff. Where did it come from? Now I understand that it really was from former life. We talk about being experienced souls, not old souls. I think experienced souls might be the better way of phrasing it. I know my dad was. My dad came back this lifetime, and I know he asked me to be his daughter because he knew I would survive whatever life lessons he had to go through, not only for him, his own self, but as a parent. And apparently I said yes, and we really did complete our life lessons together. I'm grateful for that. But I watched my dad when he went back, and I remember thinking, the soul part of him, the eternal part of him was so bright, so shining, so wise, so experienced. I remember thinking, why did you come back to this life? He had one of the toughest lives I think I've ever seen someone go through. Losing his mother when he was a baby, being tossed from relative to relative. His father is so deep in his grief that he could give nothing to his son. And then Dad ended up escaping the Iron Curtain when he was 17. And the next 3 years, he rarely talked about. He made his way to Italy first, then to Canada, met my mother a few years later, and there it goes. I think she came back. I think she agreed to be his wife, not only for their own karmic debt payoff, but because she would be an anchor beside him and hold him steady. That was something I never really understood till much, much, much later when I was an adult. I don't think I was here so much for my mother as I was for my father, to help him get through these life lessons. And in fact, when he was ready to leave, he came to me and I asked him flat out, have you completed all your life lessons? Are you ready? And he said yes. And he thanked me for being his daughter and the life lessons we learned, and I thanked him for being my father and the life lessons we had completed together. Then he was gone. But I know he's shown me as that bright, tall, wonderful soul energy. And it was really quite astonishing to know that was the essence of my father in this lifetime. We've known each other before, that's really evident. I think of the people in my life that I instantly get along with, and my understanding is, oh, you've been together before. I can think of people that I just, I don't like them, and there's something off about them, and I try to make, we've had issues in former lives, I think, and maybe our karmic debt is paid off and we don't have to be together again this lifetime. That happened to my friend. She was with someone, a nice gent, and they weren't madly in love, but they just thought they had to be together, and they were together and they got married and didn't last very long. And it was a recognition of soul self. It's a recognition of being together before, but their life lessons were paid off. Their karmic debt was completed. They didn't have to be together this time. They just thought they should, because it was that sense of familiarity to it. I know for my own marriage, I was with my husband, and my understanding again was through Gary Zukav's book, The Seat of the Soul, I think it was, or Soul Stories. It was that idea that we had a contract and we agreed to be together for this number of years, and then our contract had been completed. So we said, thank you, and we moved on. There's no animosity, we're still friends, it was still hard. It's one of the hardest things I ever did, one of the most courageous things I ever did, was to recognize that time together was completed. But we're still parents to our children, we always will be. And we behave accordingly. But I don't know what's next for myself. It's not that I look ahead to see what's next for me. I like to think I can, but I'm open to whatever. And that's part of my life lesson, is learning to go with the flow. Not so good at that, but I got another crack at it. And I'm learning. And I think I'll learn until that very last breath what it means to be a spiritual being in a physical body. And that ties us together like you wouldn't believe. I said once, wouldn't it be cool if we could all see each other as soul energy? Wouldn't it be cool if that's what we saw first? I think how much better the world will be, but you know what? I'll start with my corner of the world first. I'll start with my friends and acquaintances And when I'm introduced to people, I'll look at that and I'll wonder, have we been together before? Is this a decision to be made to continue or to politely nod and go on our own paths? Because we've completed whatever we were meant to do. I like the idea that when we come as soul family, it's like in the eternity of our soul, this is like a weekend away for us. It's like going away to on a weekend trip to Chicago. And this is explained to me again by my mentor. That idea is you plan it. You plan where you're going. Oh, let's go to this restaurant and let's meet at this time and we're going to stay at that hotel. And then so-and-so is going to join us. And then, oh yeah, they're not staying as long as we are, so they're going to leave a little early. And we're just going to have a great time in Chicago. We plan it out. We meet where we're supposed to, on this corner, in that store, that restaurant, that hotel. Have a great weekend in Chicago. And then we go home. So this is our weekend away. It's a very whimsical idea, and I think I like it. I would challenge you, no, wrong word. I wonder if you would be able to look around you at your circle of friends and your family. And do you feel like you've known each other before? Do you feel like you've known each other that well? That it's good to be together again. There's no angst. We all need friends like that. And our families help us, one way or the other, either complete our karmic debt or enhance our lives and our life lessons as best we can. I sincerely hope that you will recognize within yourself the unique soul energy that you are, and understand this may not be your first time here. And how are you advancing your soul self and completing what life lessons you need to do yourself? It's not that scary, but I gotta tell you, I've often said, the more experienced the soul, I think the harder the life lessons are, and the harder they come, and perhaps the more you choose to do. Like my dad. I think life would have been really boring for him if everything was la 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 lovely. Great place, great job, no struggles. I think he would have been bored out of his mind. He set himself some extreme, very extreme challenges to overcome, because I think that's what experienced souls do. I know for myself, I decided I was going to work on cleaning up karmic debt, and I think I've done about 7 lifetimes worth already. I'm not done yet, but it's like, oh, I know I set this for myself. Onward, because that's all we can do. I wish you a most pleasant rest of the day, and I hope you'll come again, and I'll put another video up next week. Thank you, and I thank the Spirit 5 for being with me as I start this new adventure